sit back down. Stay a bit.
Okay.
You do know Cermak was ours, right? That Al put that Polak's fat ass in office. But now this fair is coming, this World's Fair. A lot of money to be made. Whores, gambling, and beer right there on the fairgrounds, if it's legal by then. Or if not, in the speaks. Either way, it's our beer they'll be drinking. Now the city fathers want 10% Tony Cermak to clean up the town, but how can Tony do that and give people what they want?
Like whores and gambling and beer?
Like whores and gambling and beer. I'll tell you how. By putting the screws to the old Capone mob. Feds got a lot of mileage out of sending Al up.
So, Cermak teams up with the smaller mobs then. Roger Toohey, Ted Newberry, small fry he can control.
And throw us to the goddamn wolves. The outfit that made the son of a bitch.
I don't doubt you're right, Mr. Nitty. But what does it have to do with me?
I just thought you might like to know Ted Newberry put up 15 grand for anybody who'd bump me. Open fucking contract.
You sure of this?
I don't bullshit with 3 leaking wounds in me. Added to all the different ways the two Harrys screwed you over is they wasn't gonna cut you in.
Fuck a duck.
Yeah, fuck a duck indeed. Just thought you'd like to know. Something for you to, what's the word? Contemplate before this goes to trial.
Thank you, Frank. I hope you get well.
You know, Nate, I believe you do.
Louis, I'll need my gun back.
Okay.
It's got sentimental value.
Give the man his gun back, Louis.
Well, greetings, imagination connoisseurs. Once again, it is I, your pharaoh of physical media. Let my 4Ks go. That's right, Robert Meyer, Burnett, and I'm Rob casting at you from right here in the Rob Observatory. This is Let's Get Physical Media, episode number 172. And once again, I say it every week, but it's true. It doesn't get any... I mean, love does not go away. Maybe it does in certain marriages, but not on this show. The love remains for our favorite German, my favorite German, your favorite German, everyone's favorite German, all the way from Saarbrücken, Deutschland, Mr. Scorpions out, Dieter Bastian.
Scorpions out, and I say, greetings, imagination connoisseurs. Dieter here I am Rocky like Eric, and welcome to the B&B Motel for Let's Get Physical Media. And it always nice, Rob, if you cover me in oil, saying Saarbrücken, Deutschland. It always gives me the jolt that I need.
Wait a minute, wait, I've never heard that you like to be covered in oil. This is new.
Yeah, like the SD song, you know, cover me in oil with saying Saarbrücken, Deutschland. And since we started...
Oh, I thought you were going to tell us something personal and interesting.
And since we started with True Noir, Rob, you always say, be on time and on budget. Did you spend all the money on the catering again? What's the status of True Noir?
Yes, I'm actually very over budget, to be honest.
Help me out. What's the status of True Noir? Can we expect the first episode this week?
No, we're still talking about that. I think we're going to drop the first 2 next week. I think we need more promotion, but the first 2 episodes are done.
Oh, nice. That's always
the first 2 episodes are done and mixed. They're in the can, about 65 minutes worth of True Noir. So yeah, and we're still trying to actually figure out, I think, how to distribute them.
Okay.
You know, how to put them out. Like, what's the most effective way to put them out?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mixed the first 2. Very happy with them. You know, they sound like you're listening to a movie without the picture. And I'm very pleased, very, very pleased. And I think you guys will too. I think it really, really works. It's hard to tell just from the 2-minute snippets I put out. I put out 2. You can't really tell. They're not really indicative of the whole experience of watching it because there's a lot of story going on. And like I'm in the middle of cutting this big scene between Katie Sackhoff and Michael Rosenbaum. It's sad, but it's a great scene. And yeah. Then we're the plan. I don't know if we're going to release 2 episodes a week or we're going to start with 2 episodes and then it's going to be 1 a week. and then 2 at the end. I'm not really sure. I don't know. We're the team is trying to figure that out.
Yeah. And it's not especially easy, Rob, to do a teaser or a trailer for it, like for the movies.
No, and I'm trying to make one. A teaser, and I'm trying to do previews for next week. Richard Portnow says, "Don't miss Chapter 2, visiting hours." I mean, it's pretty great, but
awesome. And Rob, yeah. And finally, after 3 weeks of waiting, Rob, the movie finally opened here this weekend, Rob. And I saw it.
Did it have an 18 label?
Yes, Rob, it has. And back in the day, Rob, the Terrifier movies would never have seen the light of day here. Never. They would have been censored, forbidden, It's insane that those movies get through our MPAA, called the FSK, and are uncut to be seen in the theaters. And Rob, I was really surprised. I was in the afternoon, and even the afternoon showing was pretty packed, I have to say. So the shows for Terrifier is playing in my multiplex, Rob, in the largest screen. Can you not Venom The Last Dance? No, Terrifier is playing in the largest screen. Insane. Rob, I was totally satisfied. You know what you're getting with the Terrifier movie? Not particularly good story beats. It helps a little bit into, I would say, a more Evil Dead kind of vibe at the ending. I don't know if you have seen the movie yet. There's a little bit more demonic stuff at the end. But I totally got my fill of killings, Rob, of memorable kills in it. Definitely. And I'm still championing for Damien Leone, still being the steward of his own franchise, not selling it. And I'm sure the studios will come back to it, put perhaps another 0 on the check. Don't you want to sell it to us, all the rights for it? And especially now with Art the Clown being in the sphere of even merch, Rob, T-shirts, everything that you can get with Art the Clown. So for me, totally fulfilled my expectations, 8 out of 10. Better than the second, on the same level, I would say, And nobody walked out on my screening, Rob. But, Rob, there were people, again, in the theater with their smartphones filming the movie, Rob. Filming the movie or scenes of the movie, Insane. So, Rob, is Terrifier still, and what's great is Terrifier is still rolling out in different international locations. So I'm really looking forward what the overall box office will be when it's finally said and done. So the international markets come in a little later. But the big question is, Rob, Venom. Does the international market is still there for Venom in the second weekend?
Well, it's funny that you ask.
How's the drop in the US?
Well, the box office for international so far, I will read to you what they are saying about Venom. Of course, this comes to us on Deadline from Nancy Tartaglione. Offshore audiences continue to devour Sony's Venom: The Last Dance with a sophomore weekend of $68.4 million in 66 markets for an international box office cum of $227 million so far. Ooh. The running global total after 2 frames has clicked past the 3-century mark, now at $317.1 million, which is 4% ahead of Venom: Let There Be Carnage at the same point. So Venom: The Last Dance is actually making more money than Venom: Let There Be Carnage internationally. Yeah. After last weekend's powerful launch, which was fueled by overseas and a particularly strong debut in China, the international holdover markets were down just 44%, a better showing than the second frames of Let There Be Carnage, that was at 55%, and the first Venom, which was at 59%. While Venom 3 last session registered the lowest opening of the trilogy domestically, the $120 million budgeted movie had a terrific second weekend hold there. So Venom 3 was budgeted at $120 million, and it is already at $317.1, and it's got a strong hold, so it looks like it's going to be profitable. Yeah. So that is That's a lot of
Good
fun.
news.
I'll tell you, the domestic box office, a little disappointing. The new Robert Zemeckis movie, Forrest Gump, Back to the Future 2, or Back to the Future trilogy, Contact, he's made so many great movies. He has his new movie
very
out.
Mixed things about it.
Yeah, here only made $5 million. And, to me, what's really interesting, this movie was a $50 million movie. And this to me was, they used all this extensive de-aging technology, which Robert Zemeckis is always pioneering effects technology. I think this is the case of a movie that should have been made for like $10 million or even less. And obviously you have Tom Hanks and you have Robin Wright, so that's going to be expensive. But I think this movie, they're talking about how it's not doing well domestically, even though it was mostly paid for by international money. And another thing about the film is that it didn't have a distributor when it was made. So that's that no one knew who was going to put it out. Now, it's star-driven, but it's a gimmick movie.
Yeah.
The premise of the movie is the camera's in one place, and it starts out in the primordial era, with dinosaurs, and you see, which is a really cool idea, kind of a Tree of Life idea. This is also based on a graphic novel. But it's the kind of thing that when you're spending $50 million to make something like this, even if it's star-driven, you're asking an audience to basically watch the same. It's interesting, but it's not necessarily cinematic. And for today's audiences, I think they expect more. I don't want to be in Monday Morning Quarterback, and I haven't seen the movie, but I do think that it.
How long is the movie actually, Rob?
I'm not sure.
Time of the movie. Okay.
But the $50 million Miramax financed this, and Sony released it.
Yeah.
And it brought back together the Forrest Gump gang. And the critics didn't like it, and the audiences didn't like it. And I can understand that. It's a bold, interesting thing to do, but I just don't think it's a bummer. But Robert Zemeckis has not done well. Marwen only made $13 million worldwide. The Walk, walking across the
Two Towers.
Two Towers, that only made $61 million worldwide, and he's using a lot of modern technology. But I just don't think that. I don't think that this is an interesting case to see filmmakers who were known for their populist takes, and they want to go do something as they get older. They want to do something more innovative, but you still have to. Making a movie presupposes that there's an audience for it. And I think the question you have to ask yourself before you embark on any motion picture endeavor is, who is this audience? If you're making an art film, go right ahead, but don't spend $50 million on it. Even if it's star driven, and even if you have, to me, what's really interesting is, and I love Robert Zemeckis. I loved all the way back to Used Cars and I Want to Hold Your Hand and all that. But to me, this is kind of what the problem with a lot of corporate filmmaking is. Okay, you have a spreadsheet of all these interesting elements. You've got Robin Wright, you've got Tom Hanks, you've got other great actors, you've got Robert Zemeckis. It's based on a previously existing graphic novel. On paper, that looks good. But the question you have to ask yourself is this a movie the audience will see? That should be the one single. And a corporate spreadsheet can never answer that question. All you can do is look at analytics, and you can look at the names, and all the elements are there. But if you're not asking yourself, the most important question is, does an audience want to see this? Are you giving an audience something? Now, the answer could be that you're giving the audience something unique, but is it the kind of unique that will appeal to a mass audience? And the question, people might be saying, well, Rob, it's very arrogant to say that. I'm not saying that I think I know the answers, whether an audience would want to see it or not. But I think, yeah, I would. And so would you. Because if you pitch a movie, you pitch a story, people know whether they want to see it or not. So, I was pitching this movie to Martika. I went and saw, when I went and saw Gladiator 2. And I told her I really wanted to see this movie. And she'd never heard of it. And we're doing Designing Hollywood. And two, She said, well, that sounds kind of interesting. I pitched her the idea, and it wasn't something that immediately floated her boat. So that was the only person I really talked to about this. And unfortunately, it's too bad.
Yeah. And I think to just coexist with the topic of the movie here being perhaps not interested for the audience, I think the letter from Paul Allen Brunotto is in the same ballpark considering the new Clint Eastwood movie, Juror number 2. And he writes, let's get physical media. Where's the respect for Clint Eastwood? Hello, Rob and Dieter. It's always good to stay creative, isn't it? Anywho, reading the headline on the thumbnail for today's episode, I thought I would chime in as well. Maybe you have some inside knowledge or insight on this, Rob, about Warner Brothers and why they're dissing on the film icon's new movie release, Juror number 2. Clint Eastwood was been with Warner Brothers for almost 50 years, and they are giving his latest movie, which received a 92% on Rotten Tomatoes, with 75 certified reviews, a trickle 50 theater release over the weekend. I think this is a slap in the face. Unless Warner Brothers is doing a slow fall release rollout into cinemas for award consideration, which I doubt, where's the respect for a multi-Academy Award winner, which has made Warner Brothers over $1 billion over his 48 years being with the studio? I've been fortunate to meet Mr. Eastwood several times over the last 10 years as we talked about his filmmaking process. He is humble, kind, and forthright. It was a real treat to speak with him. I really hope Juror number 2 gets a wider release in the coming weeks, and if not, maybe if the movie gets serious award consideration, Warner Brothers will re-release it across North American and European markets. Only time will tell. As always, catch you later, Paul Allen Brunotto. Rob, some thoughts from you about?
Here's
small release.
Here's the thing. The current regime, the David Zaslav run Warner Brothers, does not give a fuck about Clint Eastwood. There is a fundamental, our society has a serious problem. We have a fundamental lack of respect for other people, and we have a fundamental lack of respect for legacy. It really is, well, what have you done for me lately? When I worked at Warner Brothers, when I was in feature production, when I worked for Bill Young, for those of you who don't already know, I worked for my first regular job in the motion picture industry was I was hired by Bill Young, who's the senior vice president of feature production, and he started a management trainee program, and I was one of the first 3 people in that management trainee program. So physical production oversaw the actual physical production of every movie that Warner Brothers made, whether it was being made on the lot or whether it was being made elsewhere or internationally. And so our department oversaw everything. And when I was there, the movie that Clint Eastwood was making was a movie called The Rookie, a cop movie with Charlie Sheen. Yeah. And awesome. It was the first time the Mercedes 500 SL was ever in a movie. It jumps out of a... Awesome. So it was really cool. I was there the day that they brought... for the movie. I saw them bring the car to the lot and everything that day. It was great. But so Clint Eastwood has a company called Malpaso. And Malpaso has these beautiful offices. I was in and out of those offices all the time. So I saw Clint Eastwood, I spoke to Clint Eastwood, I interacted with him quite a bit, actually, for a young management trainee. And just like Paul said, very, very nice guy, always had a smile on his face. And he calls you kid. And I was 22. And it was great. And, he basically he was kind of like the way Woody Allen would make a movie every year. He was making a movie every other year or every year. And sometimes the movies he would make, like he'd make Unforgiven for the studio, and Unforgiven would win Best Picture. He was a solid filmmaker. When he wasn't directing, he'd star in things like In the Line of Fire for Wolfgang Peterson. He was a true movie star. He's 94 years old right now. This probably is going to be the last movie he ever makes. And I do think that this movie should have been released and capitalized on Clint's legendary status. By all rights, everyone I've talked to who's seen it has liked it. The problem is, this is the kind of movie that is made for streaming now. This is not the kind of story that the studios, if they're not releasing a Harry Potter or a franchise picture, if Warner Brothers doesn't, but what they had was Clint Eastwood. And we're going to get to that later because Kino Lorber timed some releases this week, and they are certainly showing Clint Eastwood the love with a lot of his catalog titles, and which we're going to get to. But it is depressing. You know, it is. If this is the last movie Clint makes, celebrate his legacy, market it on that alone. But it is a slap in the face. But the problem is, the studios are hemorrhaging money. You know, their businesses are not doing great, so they're not gonna spend $25 million on a big splashy release for Juror number 12. But you know what? They should have, because they could have brought back adult audiences to the theater. You know, they could have. I think this is a good movie. I mean, that's what I've heard. I really want to see it. It's right up my alley. It's got a great cast, like most Clint Eastwood movies do. But it's it's unfortunate. But that's, where we're at right now. It's just there is no respect for legacy. There is no, and a lot of our venerable old directors are not. I mean, if you think about it, a lot of the grand masters that are still working, Spielberg's making his big epic secret sci-fi movie. The last time Spielberg made a secret sci-fi movie was E.T., which became the biggest grossing movie of all time. But all of these directors, Scorsese and Ridley Scott and Clint Eastwood, 90, 94, and two of them are in their 80s. Spielberg's in his mid-70s. I mean, all these guys are getting older, and to be honest, unfortunately for us film fans, it's a terrible thing to say, but the audiences of today, I mean, the audiences of today know who Martin Scorsese is more than they know who Steven Spielberg is. I mean, it's weird to say that. I was reading a op-ed piece about Close Encounters and how everybody was slamming Close Encounters, and I'm just like, my God, man. Okay, whatever you say. It's an odd time that we live in, because I think you and I as film fans, we grew up and we revered the entire art form. And I've never looked back at a director and said, oh, pshaw, that guy is overrated or whatever. I mean, it's ridiculous. Yeah. It's such a we live in a time where we really need to figure out how to engender respect for people, for legacy, for history, for reality. I mean, everyone is, me. No one looks out into the larger world and thinks maybe there's more than me. And yes, there is.
Some people more. Exactly, Rob. Let me just jump to movies I've seen, Rob, because finally I watched The Beast, Rob.
How is it?
Have you seen it yet?
No, I'm dying to see it.
Have you seen it yet? It's a good movie, definitely, but I think I need a second watch to really digest the movie, getting my bearings with it. For me, what's missing is a scene like you always bring up The Matrix, when Keanu wakes up as a battery, and you think, oh my God. So I'm missing a little bit of that kind of scene that would draw me into the movie a little more, because it jumps through the different times, definitely good, but not an easy watch. So it's hard to explain. Actually, hard to explain. So I would need actually a second watch. I dived into YouTube reviews, about the ending, about explaining stuff. So definitely interesting movie, but not for the mainstream. Not really for the mainstream, I think. So definitely something different, considering The Beast. The other one from our Inside directors, Rob, Julian Moreau and Alexander Bustillo. I watched The Soul Hunter, finally.
How is this?
The Soul Eater. Sorry.
Cape Light's putting it out in America. How is it?
Yeah. Great, Rob. For me, this is better than Long Legs. Because you have police procedural that, unlike Long Legs, invites you in to go on the journey. So it's a little bit like the Crimson Rivers, a little bit more in that kind of feeling. I had a great time with it. And unlike Long Legs, Rob, which goes into Cuckoo Town, at the ending, this is the totally opposite of that, So I really had a good time with The Soul Eater. Of course, it's not as gory as Inside, but it has some decent moments in it. So for me, really great one, and I think it's based on a book, The Soul Eater. And another one I've seen from Marcus Dunstan. I showed this movie. All my friends are dead, and I have to say, I had a good time with it, Rob. Like we always say it, one of our axioms: good kills, not extremely memorable, but nicely good, gory, and it is a little bit of a mix of Saw, Seven, all combined into social media. It has some nice twists at the end, and okay, a little bit foreshadowing about a sequel, of course. Yes, the characters are not particularly likable, but I actually had a good time with all my friends dead, and I would be down for the sequel for it. And let me just see, on streaming, I watched the Netflix movie Time Cut, because I was a big fan of Totally Killer, and of course Happy Death Day 2, but unfortunately Time Cut is not on that level, because if you have a movie with time travel, but the movie doesn't want to have fun with the concept of time travel, it cares about its characters, but not really about the audience. And I know, Rob, you're asking, but Dietz, what about the kills? It's mixing time travel with slasher again, like Totally Killer. What about memorable kills? There's nothing to be there, considering kills. So on that front, it's disappointing. Just more a dour experience, Time Cut. So not really a recommendation from me. And I finished, of course, Only Murders in the Building for a season. Had a good time with it. Perhaps not the strongest season, but it's always great when you hear they get a greenlit for a 5th season. Even the 4th was already not finished yet. And what I liked about the 4th season was they wanted to do the podcast into a movie form, so they get actors to play them, which did came out with some nice, funny moments in the 4th season. Perhaps not the strongest case for our 3 podcasters, but still good and enjoyable. So I think this was the movies that I have seen. Yes, Ron.
Nice.
The movie stuff that I have seen.
Very, very nice.
Nice. So who starts, Rob? Showing a little bit.
I've got a lot of stuff to show.
Okay.
I have to say my favorite thing of the week might be this.
Switch the camera up. I'm solo. I'm flying solo.
I know. I know. So to go along with this shirt, Warriors, it doesn't say the Warriors, it says Warriors.
Yeah.
Because this shirt is to in support of this. Now, what is this, you might ask? This might be the wackiest thing that's come out in 2024. This is a 2 CD concept album that's all about the movie The Warriors.
Yeah, you told us about it.
And it's done by Lin-Manuel Miranda. And here it is. Here's the disc, the 2-disc set. Both discs, it's star-studded. People like Lauryn Hill are on it. Here's disc 2, and each disc has its own book, because, he comes off, obviously, from it's Lin-Manuel Miranda and Issa Davis. I haven't, oops. Christine Sheeks is calling me in the middle of my show. So, sorry about that. This is crazy. So, it is, I haven't listened to the whole thing. I've listened to disc 1.
Yeah.
They gender swap the Warriors. The Warriors are chicks, man. But this is crazy. It's actually crazy good. But if you had asked me if this would be on my 2024 bingo card, I would have said no. This kind of came out of nowhere. I didn't know. Now, I don't know if they're going to try and make an actual Broadway play out of this.
Yeah.
But
it's just music at the moment.
Yeah, it's just music at the moment. But it seems like maybe they tried to get it off the ground and they made the music, and maybe they're selling this. But you had to go to, I got this off their website. There's a website for this. So that has merch and has the disc. So
yeah,
it's wild, dude. Wild. And the music is really great. It's all different kinds of music too. I had no idea what to expect, and I put it on. I'm like, this is really, if you're a Warriors fan, get it. It's also just a really interesting thing. I mean, only someone like Lin-Manuel Miranda could get this produced, because this wasn't cheap to make. you could see that people were in the studios for a while. So that was cool. Then, of course, Warner Archive. By the way, I've been asked a couple questions. A couple people have asked me that they found that Warner Archive titles are kind of difficult to find. Like, where do you buy them? You can go to Warner Archive. Warner Brothers has a store where you can buy them. Or there is a Warner Archive store on Amazon where you can go and find. Just type in Warner Archive specifically. And for Halloween, we got a couple of 3 great titles that came in just in time for Halloween. The Return of Dr. X. Classic stuff there. The Beast with 5 Fingers, which I used to I remember seeing this as a kid. What a great title. The Beast with 5 Fingers. And finally, I think my favorite of the bunch, Karloff in The Walking Dead. Ooh. 3 great Halloween titles from Warner Archive. And then also another great Christopher Guest movie, For Your Consideration. So I love how Warner Archive is doing the mix between they're still keeping up with their classic titles, but then they'll throw in some great, like especially a Christopher Guest movie that's, it's not as well known as Waiting for Guffman, but still still great. So if you like A Mighty Wind and you like Best in Show and you like Waiting for Guffman, now you can get For Your Consideration from Warner Archive, which is cool. I'm pretty stoked about that. Thanks. So, and then I got from Arrow, I got the J-Horror Rising box set, which I'm very interested to see. I've seen none of these movies, but Arrow, when they put these things together, they're always a great package. They did the Tetsuo box set, Tsukamoto's box set, which is great. Looking forward to diving into this. I just got this, so I know nothing about any of these movies. So happy to get those. So
how old are those movies? Are they at the beginning of J-horror or?
Yeah, I think they're like before. To be honest, I really don't know. I mean, I would imagine they're probably from the 70s and the 80s. I think. Yeah. I haven't even opened this. Why don't I open it? So it's way before Ringu. Yes, I would imagine. But they always do such a great job. There's a poster in here. There's a great book. I love these very dense, thick, heavy books. It does come with a poster. Here's one of Noir the Curse.
Yeah.
Carved the Cut Mouth Woman. Little Joker action going on there. Yeah. Ngumi and St. John's Wort. All I know is I think the promise of blood and naked Japanese girls is exactly what I need. And Sola, Multiple Personality Girl, and Shinkoku. And again, with Arrow, chock-a-block full of special features. So again, I'm looking forward to diving into this, whatever these will end up being. So that's pretty cool. I'm a big, pretty much everything Arrow releases for the most part is kind of worth getting, in a way. So, yeah. Definitely. Anyway, that's my first bit of my haul.
Nice. Then you give it over to me.
Yeah, why not? Throw it to you.
And I start. I showed these titles already, Rob, because Turbine is bringing back 3D. I already showed those 3. Those were the first 3 they released, and now we got new ones, Rob. They released 3 new ones, but I only bought 2 of the 3. I bought Migration, which I watched this afternoon. Great in 3D, especially animation is always great. And I had a good time with the movie, actually. It's only 70 minutes plus 5 minutes credits, so not particularly long. But I had a good time with it, Rob. And Turbine always gives you an alternative cover. And this is actually the German title, Rob, which is called Raus aus dem Teich, is the German title, which means off the pond. I would describe the German translation, or out of the pond migration. And then the more interesting title, of course, Rob, is Fallout in 3D.
Nice.
With Dolby Atmos track, and I have not checked it yet, Rob, but the technical specs on the back says, I don't know if I can make it visible. No, it's too bright. It says it comes with the IMAX scenes, not only in 3D, but it still contains the IMAX scenes. Considering the tech specs, I haven't checked it, but I hope they are correct. And German title is actually the same, but you could switch it to another one. The third one, which I didn't get because of the reviews, was Dr. Dolittle with Robert Downey Jr. one, which has not gotten that good of reviews. So I skipped on that one. So I only bought those two new 3D titles we're still getting, which is nice. So this is 4 and 5. So I skipped out on the number 6. Then Rob, you already showed this, but I got mine too. I got the body double.
Oh.
Steelbook. But Rob, in Germany, of course, movie's not called Body Double.
Of course not.
Of course not, Rob. Of course not. Movie is called Der Tod kommt zweimal, Death comes 2 times. It's the German title, Rob, for Body Double. But on the disc, we have the original title. So Body Double. Then, nice one, but I didn't get around to watch it. Considering Halloween, I've got from Arrow the Trick or Treat 4K set.
Nice.
Different
I didn't
cover.
get that. I got to order that. I got to get Mike Doherty to sign that for me one day.
Yeah, exactly. So only 4K. You have to be careful again because I think there's a Blu-ray and a 4K set with it. And let me just see. We have some different stuff in it. We have some art cards in it for it. What is it? We're looking forward. I think I haven't seen it in a long time. So we have some cards there. Then this is not for Trick or Treat, just a little bit of promotion from Arrow itself. And a little bit of a Trick or Treat booklet in it. And of course, the obligatory poster. It comes with the 2 artworks of it. So Trick or Treat from Arrow. Just put it back together. I will show one more. It's the first haul. Because I got the Steelbook, Rob, even if I purchased the Italian 4K. But now, like you said, everything will be carved. The Steelbook for Thanksgiving, which I thought is pretty nice, contains a note from Eli Roth about this being the best version the movie can look and sound. So a little note from Eli Roth is attached to the Steelbook of Thanksgiving. So this my first haul. First part.
Not a bad first haul.
This week. I put the Trick or Treat stuff back together. So I don't lose anything here. But will be a little bit all over the place. So and don't forget. And of course you could switch out the Trick or Treat cover. But since I had the O-ring has already the other version, of course this has to be the other one. So where are the art cards here? So, Rob, do we have some super chats, or do you have an? Is the phone call you're always getting noticed is very important? Perhaps I don't know.
Not at all. Not at all. I was
Not
just
at
trying to
all. Okay.
organize my next bunch of stuff. Let's see if anybody is writing in. I to be honest, I don't know. I'll have to look. Yes. So what do we got here? What do we got? What do we got? Let's see what people are having to say. What are they saying?
Took some time
Yeah.
to put it back together.
Yes.
I'm ready.
It does take time. So a secular monk. Oh, secular monk brings up something. I was going to ask you about this.
Okay.
Disney Plus steelbooks, dude. Disney Plus steelbooks are they're charging, for these new up like $75,
Insane.
Deadpool and Wolverine.
So
what
even higher than Deadpool and Wolverine was.
Yeah, I mean, it's insane, and to me, first of all, that's a big fuck you. It's a big fuck you. I mean, I don't know how much Alien Romulus is going to cost. I know they're putting out a steelbook for that.
Actually, Alien Romulus has a pretty nice, very fair price here in Germany. Very fair price. Around, I think it's $33 if I hit the change rate. I think it would be around $33 because it had a little bit of a price drop. So here it's very, very fair.
Well, I just the thing is, you're not you're not getting a premium product. You're getting Disney just decided to like double the price of putting things out, and it's a huge slap in the face to anybody who collects. It's not like it's unexpected from Disney, but it's really kind of disgusting.
Yeah,
I did not buy Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah, I know, and considering the Disney steelbooks, even the first batch that they brought out had a pretty hefty price tag to them already.
Yeah, like $44 or something.
Andor, Mandalorian. So the first batch of Disney Plus series, a pretty nice price to them. And the only thing when you purchase the international, the UK or the German, it didn't feature only the 4K. You get the Blu-rays at least too.
Right, but
Not
who
only
cares?
Yeah.
I mean, unless there's only special features on the Blu-ray, I just think that it's really shocking that they would do this to the people that we're the diehards, the supporters, and the fact that they come in and they do price gouging. I will eventually pick up Deadpool and Wolverine because I have all the Marvel movies. Actually, I don't have the Marvels, but I love the X-Men, and I'll pick it up. I was not a big fan of Deadpool. In fact, Deadpool and Wolverine for me.
We all know that.
so disappointing. What a missed opportunity that was. But
It had made the rounds, Rob.
I didn't. It's a bummer. I don't understand what it is that they're trying to do other than kill their market.
Yeah. No. The only thing, just wait, people. For a price drop. It's the only thing. Wait.
It's not good.
Wait for the price drop.
Melee says that my thoughts on Return of the Jedi is spot on. Good stuff. So I did a show where I talked about
that too, Rob.
Well,
You were on versus pretty hot and heavy.
but then I did
I thought,
observations.
hey, and I followed that up with an observation.
By the way, I'm not wrong. I'm not wrong. I mean, the thing is, here's the thing for me. It's okay to be critical of something. Like, I'm very critical of Star Trek movies. I'm not a particular fan of Star Trek 3. Everybody loves Star Trek 3. I mean, I like it. I don't dislike it, but it could have been so much better. And I can say that. Star Trek 4: The Voyage Home, when I first saw it, I really didn't like it at all, and I've grown to like it over the years. There's a lot in it that I love, but there's stuff in it that I don't love. And the stuff that I don't love in Star Trek 3 and Star Trek 4, admittedly, I would lay at the feet of Leonard Nimoy for being an inexperienced director. And the last people in the world, this seems strange, but to direct a Star Trek movie, not episodes, but I think you need people that are outside of the franchise in order to make the best kind of franchise pictures. Now, Jonathan Frakes is a talented director. He really is, and he brought a lot to First Contact, and he brought a lot to Insurrection. But I can't help but think what a different kind of a director would bring to those things. Because, Jonathan Frakes learned how to direct making Star Trek. And what I think you need to do is bring people that like Nicholas Meyer, who brings something beyond Star Trek. But that's just me.
Yeah.
Alvaro Zinos, our friend Alvaro, says, "Hi, gentlemen. I think this counts as physical media. I love Nana Visitor's recent Star Trek, Open a Channel, A Woman's Trek, fantastic book." Oh, well, that's a high recommendation coming from you. Yes, Nana Visitor wrote a book, and I believe she talks to all of the... is it the comic? I'm not sure what the book is. I just saw that it came out, and I must look into it. I mean, I keep abreast of Star Trek things far less than I used to now. But Now Visitor, I should keep up with that. Lewis Smith said, "Ooh, Hey guys, this week I got to finally check out Richard Rush's The Stuntman. Difficult Blu-ray to come across. It is. I think it's Severin. But this may well have joined my top 10 favorite films of all time. So good." Well, Lewis, nice. You're in good company because you're in company with me. I love The Stuntman. Interesting bit of trivia. The Stuntman opened in my hometown of Seattle first. After it was the first place it debuted. It played for almost a year. I love The Stuntman. How Tall is King Kong? If God could do the things we could do, he'd be a happy man. Peter O'Toole's performance that is great. I was able to direct Steve Railsback in an episode of Femme Fatales, and I said, I gotta tell you, and he's I bet you want to talk about Helter Skelter. I'm like, no, bro, I want to talk about The Stuntman and Life Force, which he loved. And
help me out, Rob. When you were at Comic-Con, weren't you at a place where you told us about?
Yes.
Where Stuntman location?
Yes. They shot, we were at the Hotel del Coronado on Coronado. It's not an island. It's an isthmus, I guess. Coronado, the Coronado, the Hotel del Coronado is where they shot. It stood in for a World War I European hotel that's bombed by the Germans. And it's great. The Hotel Del is great. But yes, I made a video with Gabe Bologna when we were down there for the San Diego Writers.
I remember it.
Yeah, it was good. So we did that, and that was great. I love The Stuntman. Thomas Logan says Alberto Barbera, Jason Blum, Coppola, Tarantino, and now Kojima call Folie à Deux a brilliant film that was bashed incorrectly, and Phillips is a master. Yeah, I mean,
Quentin
the architect
had a nice
behind
take
Death.
On it.
What's that?
Quentin had a nice take on it.
Yeah, no, he had a great take on it, and he's right. Look, the thing about the Joker, Folie à Deux, is it's the movie. If there was any time that fandom had to take a step back and look at something for what it is, it's so funny to me because I had people on Twitter last night saying, well, for fans of the first Joker, it was a slap in the face. And I'm like, your first problem there is being a fan of the first Joker. I mean, you can like the first Joker, you can admire it, but I don't know if being a fan of that movie is such a good thing. And that's what Todd Phillips was playing on. And it's interesting because, first of all, the movie's handsomely made, and if you listen to my interview with Larry Sher and Ariane Phillips,
there was no phoning it in on that part.
No, not at all. I mean, the movie, and if you listen, sometimes they did these elaborate tracking shots, on the fly, and it's a beautifully made film. It's a film that look, you might hate it, but it's definitely a movie to be admired. But it's funny because in fan circles, I think it blew everybody's circuits. Like, what is this? It's the least. If you asked 100 people what they wanted out of a Joker movie, no one would have said what you came up with Folie à Deux.
Yeah.
Nobody.
Yeah.
Nobody.
And for me, Rob, still, I'm on the opinion it's not a musical, not in the traditional sense. It has music numbers, but not as I interpret a musical. A musical for me would would be in the courtroom, and everyone would be dancing and started singing in the courtroom, or in the jail, in the jail where the prisoners would be starting singing and dancing. But the music numbers were always on the outside. So for me, it has music numbers, but for me, I don't call Joker Volia 2 not a musical, not for me.
No, and it's interesting. I mean, I guess because I grew up. I was a comic fan in the 80s, so I read a lot of Elseworld stories. And so when I went into that movie, as I said, I've seen it twice. When I went into it, I'm like, I didn't have...
You didn't want the natural born killer stuff.
No, and that's what people... That's exactly right. People wanted natural born killers. They wanted the Harley Quinn TV series. They wanted all of these things, and they got none of it. And I think that's what happened with that film. I think that people are saying it'll be reassessed, and I think it's true. Once people take a step back and they look at it for its own sake, for what it was at the time. Like, I feel kind of the same way about Hudson Hawk. When Hudson Hawk came out, everybody expected a Bruce Willis post-Die Hard action romp. Michael Lehman and Daniel Waters and all that, and it wasn't that at all. And when I saw it, I liked it. I thought it was goofy. I mean, Richard E. Grant and Sandra Bernhard as the villains I'm like, I love this movie. Everybody hated it.
A little bit of a different example from my perspective, Rob, was actually The Fifth Element. I saw the trailer and I thought I'd get something like a bit like Blade Runner, and then the movie starts with those walking people. I think, what is this movie? So I was expecting
in a
something
pyramid, pyramid, no less.
Yeah. Totally different, considering the flying cars, and I was ready to a little bit more of a cyberpunk, and I thought, what is this Fifth Element? But okay, I love it today. But the first contact was a little bit off for me,
It's funny. I went and saw. I was working on the Star Trek Experience at the time, the big attraction in Vegas. I was making all the videos that would play throughout I was editing all that stuff, and I went with my boss, Dave DeVos, and we went and saw Fifth Element at the Cinerama, the big Cinerama in downtown Hollywood. I loved it. I mean, I just thought this was because I read Heavy Metal magazine growing up, and I totally understood that it's look, the tone of that movie is very French. Yeah. It's not American audiences
consistent.
Yeah, American audiences wanted something different. We're not. That's why I think that like I always say that we don't. The Fifth Element has a lot of whimsy in it. Yeah. The same way that Amélie has whimsy in it. And Amélie is one of my favorite movies of all time. But American audiences, we are not whimsical people. I think Americans, if there's one thing, if somebody said to me, if you could inject something into the American psyche, what would it be? And I would replace our snark with whimsy. I think the younger generation, the people that are watching One Piece or reading One Piece, the kids today that are reading manga are going to be infused with a sense of whimsy that they might not even know that they're getting. Thank God for that. Thank God for that, because fandom certainly needs a little bit of whimsy.
Certainly does.
Just
I think we're caught up with the super chats.
Let me see. Hang on a second.
Thomas Logan was the last one.
Yeah, Thomas Logan was the last one. I just want to make sure.
Considering positive reactions from big names. And
Jose Loma subscribed to the channel, so that's kind of neat. Let's just make sure. I just want to make sure that we're not missing anyone. Yeah, we're caught up.
Okay. Who goes on, Rob?
Well, I have this insane stack of discs.
Yeah.
I got two. I don't. Again, God bless Kino Lorber. And we'll get to the Clint Eastwood stuff, but Kino Lorber sent me two gigantic boxes of stuff. Like I'm going to be literally buried under. I mean, and it's all the stuff they sent this week was all great. I mean, Gina Gershon in Pray for Rock and Roll. If you haven't seen this movie,
this movie on pre-order.
Yeah, Pray for Rock and Roll came out. A lot of bonus features in this. I haven't even opened these up. I just got this. I mean, I'm like, it's unbelievable. They sent out one Merchant Ivory documentary, and now they sent out another one, Merchant Ivory, the documentary. So
Okay.
I love Merchant
I'll bet
Ivory.
you a piece.
Actually, the other one was on Powell and Pressburger. I'm wrong. And now I've got Powell and Pressburger and Merchant Ivory. So there you go. You got your British producing, directing duos covered.
Yeah.
Ilya Kazan's The Visitors, a movie that I know nothing about. I know who Ilya Kazan is, of course. But I don't know anything about this. A haunting home invasion thriller. James Woods is in this, stars as a Vietnam veteran trying to raise his family while blocking out the past, but when his menacing ex-army buddies show up on his doorstep, Steve Railsback from The Stuntman and Chico Martinez, there's a reckoning for their history of violence, directed by Ilya Kazan. And this movie came out in 1972. I knew nothing about it. You go, Kino Lorber. This is the best kind of movie to get. Then Edward James Olmos and Willem Dafoe, of course, in 1989's Triumph of the Spirit, directed by Robert Young. Sent me that. Gotta love that. This is a movie I've actually seen. Gary Cooper in the Court Martial of Billy Mitchell. Directed, of course, this is great to have because Otto Preminger directed this movie. And how great to have it. This is from 55, by the way. This is just an amazing, this is an amazing war film about and the aftermath of war. I mean, Paramount Pictures did a scan of this in 2023 in 4K, so that's awesome. William Holden and Deborah Kerr. Wait, did I think I might have? No, did I say this? Did I show this last? The Proud and the Profane. So. The Proud and the Profane.
Can't remember. No.
Again, they're mining the Paramount library. But and there's extra features and stuff on here. Commentary by Stephen J. Rubin is on here. Same with this last one. So what I really like is what Kino Lorber does, and this is really clever. So they put these kind of movies that are of a piece, like that are come from the same period, that deal with kind of the same subject matter, and they're putting them out together, which I think is really clever. They're not getting enough credit for this, but they're doing some really clever releasing stuff. And then, of course, one of the great, which I can't pronounce, this film is one of the great...
Topkapi.
Yeah, or Topakai. Tokapi, Tokapi, whatever. But this movie, by the way, look at that cover. This is one of the great heist movies, one of the great movies of all time. I love this movie. Peter Ustinov and Maximilian Schell, cool artwork. I've seen this movie like 6 times. I'm happy to have this. Very cool.
What is the title standing for? Rob, help me out.
A Place.
A Place. Okay, A Place.
Yeah, and it's pretty interesting. So, and of course, Jules Dassin directed this. And if have you seen Rafifi?
No.
Criterion put it out.
So. Could be.
Makes a great double feature with this. Then silent movies. This is amazing. This is another one of their silent releases. Look at this cover. Great. Maniac. Now, if you read this cover, true and authentic, nothing withheld, a subject seldom discussed, strange loves exposed, adults only, no one under 16 admitted, what are the dangers of desire, the truth about love fearlessly told, and what wrecks romances. This is part of their Golden Age of Exploitation, Volume 17. So perverse that it continues to shock and offend viewers 90 years after its release. This is a deranged retelling of Edgar Allan Poe's The Black Cat in the guise of an educational film on mental illness. This no-budget thriller by self-taught filmmakers has a wildly fragmented style. Its intrusive use of title scrolls, stock footage, and gratuitous nudity make it one of the first true underground films. Maniac is presented here in a new 4K restoration from the original camera negative and other 35 elements, and presented by the UCLA Film and Television Archive. Yes. and it's got tons of bonus features. And wow, I can't wait to delve into this. You go, Kino Lorber.
Early on, our stuff, Rob.
Yeah, and then I mean, it's okay. There's so much more. So these Fernando de Leo movies, I keep thinking that I bought a box set of these a long time ago, but I think they're re-releasing these. I really like these Fernando de Leo movies, The Italian Connection, and this has what's his face, Kane from Battlestar from Buck Rogers. Why am I drawing a blank on his name?
Yeah.
But
The
anyway,
guy who played Buck Rogers.
No. He played Kane. He played the leader of the Draconians. Why am I drawing a blank on his name? Anyway, somebody out there will tell me. A Buster Keaton movie. I'm getting my education that I've never had before. 7 Chances. Now this sounds pretty cool. An Isabelle Adjani movie called Deadly Circuit.
Ooh, nice.
This from 1983. And a detective techno thriller or something. Hey, Isabelle Adjani's in it. Coming after Possession. What's not to love? Henry Silva. That's who I was trying to think of. Henry Silva. Another Fernando de Leo movie, The Boss. I think of these as like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, like Leonardo DiCaprio went and made half of these movies. And then another Merchant Ivory production here, Roseland, which I've never seen. So
Okay.
it's an eloquent touch of triumph. There you go. And Cattle Drive. It's all from Kino Lorber. I mean, come on.
Isn't that what should be happening on Tuesday, Rob? The cattle drive to voting,
Well, I've already voted.
Okay, nice.
I've already voted.
So no last minute decision.
I don't know anything about these, but these old westerns that I've never seen, I love getting them because they're great, and Joel McRae's in that too. So again, I don't know what their business model is. I want to thank Kino Lorber, and we're going to get to Kino Lorber's triumph of the week later. But later.
So then I show some stuff that I've gotten this week, Rob, from Xavier Gens, the man who, of course, did Frontiers, one of the French horror revolution movies. I've got this martial arts career, Farang, which is the term for foreigner in the country he's operating. So this is the 4K with the Blu-ray. Totally had a great time with it because I have seen the movie in digital, and I'm really happy that it came out here as a 4K media book. Farang from Xavier Gens. And then, Rob, Anora is starting in the theater. And
Yeah, I think I might go see that today.
I have not seen all Sean Baker movies. I think I've really only seen Red Rocket, which I like. And then I thought, okay, I will go back to his filmography. And I discovered this came out from Second Sight. So I bought his movie Tangerine from Second Sight. I've not seen it. And I think it was shot on an iPhone, I believe. So we've got discs. Normal stuff.
Yep.
And then, of course, the booklet for the movie. I don't know if this was the movie before Red Rocket or even earlier in his career. Tangerine. And we have some art cards for it. Of course, flip it the wrong way. But you have not seen Anora, his new one.
No, I'm dying to see it.
Okay. Yeah. I hear good things. Sometimes there's a bad review for it, but mostly it seems to be very, very good. Even if it seems a little bit on the longer running time, again with I think, 50 minutes. So Tangerine from Second Sight. So I was happy, Rob, that this was actually still available, because this
Right.
is not a new release from Second Sight. This is definitely an
And is that that
Tangerine.
looks like a full blown special edition too?
Yeah, totally, Rob. It's still available from Second Sight. Then last week, Rob, we already showed this, but I will show it again because I watched it, Rob. And after I started it, I think the memory came a little bit back, because I have seen it, but I didn't know how it would go. Probably back in the VHS days. I don't know if it came ever out on DVD. We showed this last week. I watched Jesus. Totally great movie.
Oh,
Love
tell
the-
me.
the
Okay, remember
transfer.
you said you bought it a blind buy because I told you to buy it.
Yeah, totally great. But when I saw it, I think, because especially the nerd, Rob, the geek. I remember the geek and his great apartment that he had, because I had the same Alien poster. When the alien comes through the door, I had actually the same poster. I had myself, and I remembered the movie, but I didn't know where it was going. I remembered just vaguely, and I had a great time with it. Comes with new special features, so in 4K and the Blu-ray. Showed it last week, and I think that the transfer is really, really great, really grainy. James Cameron would not like this movie, how it looks, Rob. Definitely not. We have the booklet for it. And it was, I think, in the beginning of the 5.1 era. So it comes with a 5.1 track. The only thing, I think it was only Dolby Digital, if I remember correctly. I think the receiver did show it was Dolby Digital. But great, definitely great movie. It would make perhaps a nice double bill with 8mm.
Yeah, I was just thinking that you should say.
and there was this other movie, Rob, that we talked about now, but I don't know it anymore. Where I thought this would be a great triple feature, considering the topic of making such movies. But I was thinking of a third one, but
A Serbian
remember.
film.
I wouldn't want it to go that far, Rob. I think there was another movie that I was thinking of. So really nice one from Umbrella from Australia. But we showed this last week, and I reserved some titles that I can show this week, because this wasn't the only thing that I did get from Umbrella for last week. I've got, because I love the movie, I've got Triangle
Oh, nice.
from Umbrella. But this is not in 4K, this is just a Blu-ray, because I've just assumed there's only a 2K master for it. And I've never taken the edition out. So this is a little bit more of a known cover for the movie. Just see here. Oh, always nice. If we get, of course, a different variation under the O-ring. And even so, wait, we can even switch that out. No, this is actually, it is the same, but without the ratings logo. So it doesn't have the ratings logo on it. So we do a little bit of a flip here, because like the German ones, the Australian are pretty thick logos.
Yeah.
So you can switch that out, and the Australian ratings logo is gone. We've got the poster here for it. It's the two artworks. So, poster stuff. Fear comes in waves. Haven't seen this movie in a long time. Really looking forward to.
I liked it.
Doing a rewatch. Yeah. And let me just see what else comes with it. And all those Umbrella editions are limited. Like Rob was pissed that the cards they don't fit in. Rob, cut the bottom half. You just cut the bottom because there we go, a little bit. They're all limited. So this is 1,500. Let me just see. This was, I don't know, I think around the same. You just cut it down, then it fits easily in here. So, easy peasy. Well, we've got the booklet for triangle and some art cards too. If I can get the Banderole, as we say in Germany, removed here. Got some nice art cards. If I remember that the movie started a little bit with a ghost ship slasher vibe, then it turned a little bit into a time jumping thing.
Yes.
So triangle. Let me just put that aside here because I have one left from Umbrella, which is in 4K. Really looking forward to it because the movie always had a little bit of a rough picture quality. Really looking forward how it will look. Joint security.
Oh, yeah.
Well, one of the Korean great ones. And let me just dive into it. So we get the same here, but let me just, as expected, this is more of the known one. And I forgot, let me just see about thesis. At least joint security area is APC region coded, considering the tech specs, if they are correct and don't are just for the 4K. Let me just see if there's just a B on the Blu-ray. No, actually not so. There could be actually code 3. We have the poster for the movie. So I'm really looking forward, considering the quality of the movie. And here we have a bit of the demilitarized zone here. Joint security area. Slip. And inside we have booklet for it. So this movie I bought more than once. Let me just see. Okay, the joint security area is just limited to 1,000
Wow.
edition. And of course some art cards too here.
You know, Umbrella did a box set of Martyrs,
Exactly, Rob. Exactly.
and I don't have it. I wasn't
Because
aware of.
we're waiting on the second side one, Rob.
I wasn't aware of. Yeah, but they've never announced that they're doing Martyrs.
Yeah. But we got the other 3 of the Horror Revolution from second side, so we want Martyrs from second side too. So a little bit sticky here. Yard cards for joint security area. This was my haul, Rob, for this.
And a fine haul it is, sir.
Yeah.
We
Luckily, I saved the Umbrella ones for this week.
Yeah, you got to save them for last. We got some more super chats and things in. People are out there. They want to comment. This is pretty interesting. Walter Whitewalker says, with James Gunn traditionally putting together some fantastic soundtracks, do you think he will do the same for Superman or go with a hopefully awesome score? That's actually a really good question. You know what? If I were to guess, and again, I don't know anything about Superman. I know nothing about it other than what we've seen on the internet. I'll bet you that there isn't. I bet it's score only. I bet there's no music. Okay. And I say that because he's trying to create a different. See, the thing about music, it means that it's our world. You know, it's the world we live in. It. I know it's a fictionalized version of it, but once you put a piece of score or music, you firmly set. That means if this piece of music exists, then does all music exist? And if you use a Led Zeppelin song in Superman, for instance, does that mean like all the other rock of that era exists in the universe of the movie?
Yeah.
And if you do that, then it drags in. This is an interesting thing. It drags in all pop music. That means all rock and roll music existed, which means all jazz music existed and go back all the way. At least to me, it does. You can't put a piece of music in, and it's interesting because I'll tell you a show because it plays on
and
this.
Especially, Rob, just when you think about Guardians of the Galaxy, it was interwoven into the story, considering the Walkman and the songs.
Yes, and so I would imagine that Superman is going to rely on score alone. As much as James Gunn might love music, but then again, I could be proven wrong because I don't know. But I would imagine the problem is if you have a universe that has all these super people in it and all that, and then you start relying on pop music from our universe, it kind of clashes. It doesn't work unless you're like For All Mankind, where it's a different timeline. You know, in which case certain things did exist. I don't know. It's an interesting question about verisimilitude that I would love to ponder.
Well, it would make sense.
Walter White Walker follows his very interesting question up with this comment. Before Madonna was born, was she a prima donna? Where's the buzzer? Where's your buzzer?
You want it, Rodder?
Yeah.
There it is.
Come on. No, it might have been better than that. Okay, that's worth a mild chuckle. Last week you forgot to mention one of the best films of the 2010s, Lynn Ramsey's You Were Never Really Here, is coming to 4K by Umbrella. You know, I did forget that. I don't know if I'm
gonna... It was a pretty new announcement.
Yeah, it was. I have that movie. I own that movie. I don't know if I'll buy that movie. I don't love that movie. I don't love it, Tom. Yep. I'm sorry. But maybe I'll get it. I don't know. Walter White Walker says, I don't see Superman as a soundtrack-driven film. No, you mean a source cue. Source cues are previously existing pieces of music they put into a film. But yeah, it's definitely an original score kind of a movie. No Money G says, you guys rock. Thanks, Robin Dieter.
Awesome.
Well, thanks, No Money G.
Thanks, No Money G.
They used to call me No Money B, which I thought was funny. Stubble McShay. First of all, No Money G sent in a tip and said, oh, never mind. No Money G sent me a very lovely tip and said something funny, but he asked me not to read it live, so I will not. No Money G, thank you for that. But I will, to quote the great director Burke Dennings. I'm not going to say what No Money G said, but Burke Dennings in The Exorcist was making fun of Chris McNeil's butler. And he said to the butler, Nazi bastard. So that's all I'm going to say. And he wasn't referring to you, Dieter. He wasn't referring to the German. Well, I guess he was sort of obliquely. But I'm just quoting Burke Dennings.
It's just a messenger. I know.
That was just The Exorcist. That's from The Exorcist. Stubble McShave says, talking about Clint Eastwood, where is the 4K of Where Eagles Dare and Kelly's Heroes? Okay, first of all, Where Eagles Dare is one of my favorite World War II movies. It was released on MGM on a letterbox laserdisc. I love that movie. I love the score. Clint Eastwood's in that movie. Richard Burton's in that movie. That movie kicks ass. Where is it? And Kelly's Heroes is really good too. And I don't know. I want those movies in 4K. Stubble, you're a man of wealth and taste. So I agree. Yes. Where is it? I don't know. Why hasn't Kino Lorber put it out yet? Come on, Kino Lorber. That's part of the MGM catalog. Get on that right now.
MGM.
I don't know who's got that. I don't know who's got that movie. I want it. All right, so we're caught up with that.
Awesome.
But where should we go now?
So I think, Rob, if you don't have any more stuff to show, perhaps the news section.
Oh, I do have stuff to show. I'll wrap it up. Okay, now if I didn't love Kino Lorber, enough, do you know what these are?
There we go. 4Ks, Rob.
Yes.
Looks like 4K.
This is a stack of 4K discs. You could tell. First of all,
the black MRAs.
First of all, the William Friedkin Paramount era, because his wife Sherry Lansing ran Paramount. They put out The Hunted. Here is Rules of Engagement with Sam Jackson and Tommy Lee Jones. William Friedkin directed it. You know, these movies aren't necessarily, they don't reach the heights of The Exorcist, but, you know, they're still pretty good. I hope they put out Blue Chips, the basketball movie with Nick Nolte, because I really like that
This was
movie.
a Paramount title, if I remember.
Yeah, it is.
correctly.
Yeah, Kino Lorber is totally mining the Paramount library. Totally mining the Paramount library. Now we have a really interesting bunch of. First of all, I'm going to put these last. A really interesting bunch of films from Kino Lorber in 4K. Circus of Horrors. I've never seen this. Sidney Hayers. First of all, again, Kino Lorber. Let's just talk about how awesome Kino Lorber is for a minute. So, things are sliding and falling on me. So, this movie, Les Sans Visage. If you've seen Eyes Without a Face, this is also about a mad plastic surgeon, and he takes a disfigured woman and turns her into a beautiful trapeze artist. And things start and in a circus. That's all I really know about it. But Kino Lorber style. Look at that with the classic artwork.
Awesome.
In 4K. Again, they're getting this. They must have an output deal with Studio Canal, because this is a Studio Canal title. So that is very, very exciting. Then a movie that I really like, a Stanley Donen movie in 4K with Gregory Peck and Sophia Loren, Arabesque. I love this movie.
Ooh.
So, and not only, look at this, leave it to Kino Lorber. This is delightful. This makes a great double feature with Charade. If you've ever seen Charade, one of the greatest Hitchcock movies that Hitchcock never made. Look at this classic artwork. Great. You gotta love it. I mean, and this is Universal, so I bet it probably looks pretty great. I mean, these catalog titles. This is a pretty significant classic film. I mean, this is '66, and the fact that Universal. I love that Kino Lorber is putting all this stuff out. I don't think if Kino Lorber was picking up all these catalog titles, we would even get them. Then this is really interesting. Susan George, and Honor Blackman from Goldfinger in one of the first slasher movies that I've never seen, Fright.
Ooh,
Fright.
Nice.
British film from 1971.
Yeah.
Predates. Does not have a... does this have a... I don't even know. No, single thing. But Susan George from, of course, the great Sam Peckinpah film, and then Honor Blackman. So I mean, Straw Dogs. I didn't say Straw Dogs. So I can't wait to see this. Fright. And now another Kino cult title. All over the place. 4K. I know nothing about this movie. Spine number 19. Baby Blood.
Oh, I know the movie from cover, but I don't know if I've seen it.
So it's time to feed the baby. It's a voracious parasite from the dawn of creation, surviving centuries in search of the one thing it needs, to be born of a human. But when this cunning creature slithers inside a sexy circus performer, again, sexy circus performer, I see you, Kino Lorber. I see what you're doing. Sexy circus performers in horror films. Let's see. And by the way, this movie's French. So it's got to be great. And it's from 1990. But when this cunning creature slithers inside a sexy circus performer, voluptuous French starlet Emmanuelle Escuro from Lady Blood, it demands gallons of fresh blood to grow stronger. Now this reluctantly expectant mommy and her chatty mutant fetus are off on a country-killing spree where prenatal care means violent carnage and the ultimate mother's milk is baby's blood. Also known as the evil within, this French shocker is now presented totally uncut and uncensored with all of its infamous womb rating. You're rating a womb, just like an inside. Womb rating, gore spewing, and flesh bearing, beautifully restored in 4K. A gorehound's delight, says Fangoria. Kino Lorber.
I think you should pick that up, Rob.
I love you, Kino Lorber.
I remember the cover, but I don't know if I've seen it.
I mean, the fetus talks. I can't wait. I can't wait to see this. God bless you, Kino Lorber, for giving this to me. And now we come to the piece de resistance for the week. As Warner Brothers disses the great Clint Eastwood. Kino Lorber, again, timing these releases with the release of Juror number 2. 3 Clint Eastwood films. 3.
Nice.
The first, of course, Two Mules for Sister Sarah is, I think, the oldest. Yeah. And with Shirley MacLaine, Two Mules for Sister Sarah. And, of course, all 3 of these discs have reversible covers. This has both versions. But in a shocking twist, the international version is the version that's on 4K, and the domestic edition is on Blu-ray. So they're both in here.
Is the international longer or shorter?
Yes.
The international is longer. Okay.
I think yes. The international version is 114 minutes, and the domestic is 105. So that's
10 minutes.
Yes, I mean that you got to love that. So, and Don Siegel, the great Don Siegel, directed this, of course, and Clint Eastwood basically learned everything he knows from Don Siegel. And then we have, in chronological order, this, if memory serves, and I might be wrong, but I think I'm right. Play Misty for Me, a thriller. This is the first movie that Clint Eastwood directed, I think.
Oh, okay.
Pretty sure.
Yeah.
Again, reversible cover. And this was actually produced by Jennings Lang. And Jennings Lang produced the Airport movies, too. Jennings Lang production. Yeah, that's really cool to have. Again, chock-a-block full of special features. So, I mean, it's really cool to have these 3 Clint Eastwood titles, which is more than Warner Brothers. It's not like they made a Clint Eastwood box set. And then finally, the Iger Sanction. And this was produced by Zanuck and Brown, who produced Jaws. And also, and Bob Daly produced this as well. And this is also directed by Clint Eastwood, of course. And 2 discs, cool. 2 things, 2 covers, 2 discs, everything. So, and I think all 3 of these have Blu-rays. Yeah, they have Blu-rays and 4Ks. So that's pretty neat. And again, a lot of special features. And they really went all out. Kino Lorber went all out to honor these Clint Eastwood titles. All of these are pretty significant in Clint Eastwood's filmography. So
awesome.
That's the week that was. And Kino Lorber definitely honored the memory and the legacy. We don't need to honor the memory of Clint Eastwood yet. He's still here. But, that was great. Good stuff.
Cool. Because I put out 2 Clint Eastwood titles, at least 2, to honor the man.
And he deserves to be honored.
Yeah. I think news section.
All right. Well, first of all, let me throw out, we've got a few people wrote in.
Yeah.
Mas Hussein says, "Hi guys, the 7 4K Steelbook was announced for 2025. Yeah, you know what? It sucks. That Steelbook sucks. I wanted that big what's in the box set that they were going to do. I think David Fincher quashed that, which is too bad. Look, I do just want 7 in 4K. The Steelbook is pretty uninteresting. I wish they had gone with the advance poster. But yes, it's coming. It is coming, the 7 Steelbook. I didn't even include it in this week's news because I didn't like it.
Yeah. I mean, 7 was coming. You already knew that.
We already. Yeah,
it was just a Steelbook.
Yeah. The felon attorney, Oregon. Is that what that is? Wait, I want to make sure. Let me make sure I'm getting that correct. The felon attorney Oregon IRL says, "Do you think we'll ever see Highlander 2 in 4K? Do we want to see Highlander 2 in 4K?"
Yeah,
No, with the multiple cuts, I would buy that movie.
Yeah.
I would buy Highlander 2.
How is the most important cut? What was the Renegade?
The Renegade cut.
Version? Renegade, yeah.
None of those
the
are
opera
important.
setting at the beginning,
Yeah. I don't know if we'll ever see Highlander 2, but I would buy it.
I have
Why
a
not?
soft spot for it.
And the 5 Dot Toast gifted 10 the Burnettwork memberships. I'm sorry we didn't have a member call this week. Next week we will. I know I keep saying that. I've just been slammed with getting True Noir done. So there, we're caught up. Should we go jump into the news?
Yeah.
There's not a lot of great news this week, but there's some. There's some good news this week. Always good news. Let's see. What do we got cooking? I don't know anything about this, but Warner Archive released their list of December titles, and Black Eye is one of them. This looks like a thriller. When the cane turns up, someone else turns up dead. I don't know anything about this movie, but if George Feltenstein picked it to come out, I trust in George. So you go, George. I'm very curious to see what this movie is. Very much so. And they're also putting out The Tall Target with Dick Powell and Adolph Menjou. Again, don't know anything about it, but I bet it's good. George always curates. I mean, Warner Archive is always coming out with great stuff. And then Ann Sheridan, the great Ann Sheridan, Loving Her Once is Once Too Often. Uh-oh. Nora Prentice, I don't know anything about this, but man, I can't wait to see it. I don't know what that means. Loving her once is once too often, but I guess that can only mean she's going to lead you down the primrose path. The Spanish Main with Paul Henreid and Maureen O'Hara. This, there you go. This looks like a fun Technicolor romp. Excited to get that. And then, of course, this is interesting. Giancarlo Giannini from the Bond movies and Candice Bergen. Yeah. And it's a Lena Wertmüller movie. How do you pronounce her last name? Lena
Wertmüller.
Wertmüller. The End of the World in Our Usual Bed in a Night Full of Rain. I'll watch that. Come on, another Warner Archive great lineup for December. And then, of course, finally, Cary Grant in Mr. Lucky. Hey, any Cary Grant movie on Blu-ray is a good thing. So Warner Archive coming in hot for the end of 2024. Warner Archive's actually had a great year. They put out a lot of great stuff. Kudos to George Feltenstein and the gang at Warner Archive for really making sure that the deep catalog over there is being preserved the way it should be. So George promised to come on our big show on December 15th. Where we're having a bunch of YouTubers, and George is coming on, and Bill Hunt is coming on, and it's going to be fun. Lionsgate announced that, of course, Kill Bill Volume 1 and Kill Bill Volume 2 are coming out on 4K. That's fine.
On the whole bloody affair.
Yeah, I mean, that was a rumored thing. I mean, I saw it. I hope it's coming out. But here's the thing. The Kill Bill Volume 1, I will always watch my DVD of it, my Japanese DVD of it. I will. I mean, I love the Kill Bill movies, But
Yeah.
and maybe I'll get Kill
The
Bill.
problem is really, Rob, if you have seen it otherwise, you know, then
I
the
can't
first
go
one is
back.
tough. The second, yes, but the first, it's tough.
Yeah, I
Tough
mean,
if
I'll
you
buy
haven't seen it
two.
otherwise.
I'll buy two in 4K.
If at least, Rob, the fighting sequence at the end would be fully complete, then you could live with the black and white because it's stylishly done, you know, with the light switch. But if you have seen it uncut, you know where the cuts are. It hurts.
I can't do it. Can't do it. Please, 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 Tarantino-san, please figure out a way to get the American, because that was a ratings issue. Clearly, the Japanese version is the way you always wanted it. You mixed the Japanese samurai blood. You got their formula for the samurai blood for a reason. You want that version in the movie. Of course, I got my stinky tuna whole bloody affair. So, you know.
So, at the moment, you're still good.
Now, our beloved Vinegar Syndrome, which just put out another Paramount title, the Tenant, which we'll talk about next week. Okay, I'm gonna say yes. Now, I'll flat out say this: there are a few movies that I've seen in a theater that I hated. I hated this movie.
Okay.
I hated it. I don't know. I don't mean to disparage Frank Marshall, but I just thought nothing in this movie worked. The direction was all over the place. I really don't like.
Not really a big memory of it, Rob. How the movie goes, how it plays out.
Now, maybe I was in a
Seriously,
bad mood. I'd watch it again, but I'm not
Okay.
going to buy it. I'm not going to buy Congo.
But it is in 4K.
It is in 4K.
Okay.
Yeah, and Frank Marshall, who produced the Raiders movies and worked with Spielberg, directed it. But yeah, no, not going to get it. Blood Tracks. Don't know anything about this. They're putting this out, but this looks interesting.
Okay.
Why not? But the thing that Vinegar Syndrome's putting out that I'm most interested in, because I watched the trailer, is Black-Eyed Susan.
That looked interesting to me too, Rob.
Did you watch the trailer?
No, Rob. No.
Oh my God. I have to say, the trailer disturbed me. The trailer disturbed me. I don't like violence against women. You know that I don't like. I mean, rape revenge movies are one thing because you know the people that are doing the perpetrators are. But this movie is really disturbing. At least the trailer disturbed me. So apparently they have these very, very realistic sex dolls, companion dolls. And the dolls are like, well, if you want to hit me, you can. Like, if you want to hit me, do you want to hit me? The guy's like, yes, I do. And it's like, these dolls allow you to physically abuse? I don't know, but whatever the trailer was, I was like, oh, that's...
Wait a minute, Rob. Click.
Yeah, I'm like, that's disturbing. Even though I don't like it, I kind of want to buy it.
Yeah.
Because, that's just... It's a dichotomy. It's a dichotomy.
Yeah.
But, I mean, to me, as far as a horror film is going to go, interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting, yeah. But yeah,
I thought that too, Rob. I saw that.
That is called Black-Eyed Susan. So, yeesh.
I don't know if I heard about the title.
Just watch the trailer. It's like, I don't know if I want to watch this. But sure I do. Just to see where it goes. Then, of course, Trey Parker's Cannibal the Musical is coming out from Vinegar Syndrome, part of their new releases, which is cool. And then... also, Ron Sullivan, the early years, don't know much about that, but I'm really appreciating their Vinegar Syndrome. Whenever they put out these kinds of things, they're always pretty interesting. So that's kind of neat. And then Kino Lorber is putting out Miracle Mile. Now, I already own this.
That's good feel movie.
I love this movie. It's about a romance in Los Angeles, and if you want to see a movie that'll put a smile on your face, if you've never seen this movie or heard about this movie, go in cold. Because, I talk about how Americans don't understand whimsy. This is one of the most whimsical, romantic, lovely films. And I'll tell you, this has one heartwarming ending.
And it's especially, Rob, it's one of those movies where you put yourselves in those shoes. What would you do?
What would you do? And it'll put a smile on your face, guaranteed. Miracle Mile. And also,
Yeah.
this was directed by Steve DeJarnett, who went to my college, the Evergreen State College, and he also directed Cherry 2000, which Kino Lorber is also putting out a new edition of. And by the way, they recorded audio commentaries for both of these movies at Private Island Audio, where I am mixing True Noir. So Steve DeJarnett, he even directed an X-Files episode. You go, Steve DeJarnett, and that's pretty exciting. Then Terror Circus is coming out. And Terror Circus in 4K that Kino Lorber just released. So, actually, it's Circus of Horrors. This is a different circus. So we got circus movies all over the place. But I don't know about Terror Circus. I know that Vampire Circus is my favorite Hammer vampire movie. I don't know anything about this movie. But I guess it'll go with Circus of Horrors. So that's kind of... You got Terror Circus, Circus of Horrors, Vampire Circus. Come on. There's nothing better than circus movies that are full of blood and violence and monsters and killers. It's all good. And then we've got, this is coming out from it's an MGM title, but it's Satyricon, Fellini's Satyricon. And this movie, I definitely want to get this. I know it's only on Blu-ray. I'd like to get it in 4K. But when we first got cable in the early 80s, this movie was always on cable. Always. I saw this movie more times than I probably should have at a young age. But hey, great to get that.
Still 18 certificate in the UK.
Yeah, well, there you go, right? Definitely. So,
yeah.
And then finally, bringing up the rear, Undisputed, the Walter Hill film, Ving Rhames, Wesley Snipes. I love me some Walter Hill. So that's coming, and there you go. Those are the things that I thought were worth reporting on.
And just I forgot to mention, in The Beast, your Evergreen State College gets a little bit of a mentioning here.
It does?
In The Beast. It does, Rob. It does.
Wow, that's wild.
Just saying, Rob. Just saying.
Wow.
Because it popped up in the movie, and I think, heard about that college.
Does it pop up in relation to those things?
Why?
No, Rob. It's just, I think, a little bit more in the background of the movie.
Oh, okay. I didn't have silent mode on. And that's all the news that's fit to print this week.
Nice. So I could go, Rob, into, of course, the live chat. You can take a break.
Well, we got a few.
Okay. Chat. Sorry, Rob.
Star Wars Lego Rob says the best duo in the universe. I wonder if Star Wars Lego Rob has bought any of Mold King's Star Wars stuff. Star Wars Lego Rob, did you buy the Mold King Sandcrawler or the Grand Admiral Thrawn's Star Destroyer from Heir to the Empire? Did you get that stuff? 5 Dot Toast. Actually, but thanks for that, Star Wars Lego man. That's always Star Wars Lego Rob. Star Wars Lego man. I appreciate that. 5 Dot Toast says, can confirm that the 4K of RoboCop 2 is superb. Phil Tippett's stop-motion masterwork is given its due thanks to Scream Factory.
Awesome.
Did you buy that?
Yeah, I bought it.
I didn't buy that.
I have a soft spot for the second one.
Yeah, maybe I should pick it up. Bo Edmonds became a member of the channel. He's an imagination connoisseur. Well, thank you, Bo.
Come on, Rob. You have Evan Kirshner, Empire Strikes Back, RoboCop 2, Gotta have both.
Do you? Okay. Take us, give us a live chat.
Okay. Previously on Let's Get Physical Media, Bert Vedder was here. Rob and Dieter have amazing shirts. Yeah. Bang, boom, warriors. We always try to dress appropriately. Bert Vedder says, considering Rob before us, goes, he's Access Media. He has already seen Gladiator 2. Bert Vedder says, now I'm really excited for Gladiator 2 now that Rob likes it. And yeah, he did set a pretty high bar considering he says it's the Top Gun Maverick of Gladiator. Really looking. We will get back to you, Rob, when the movie gets finally released in 2 weeks, I believe. Walter White Walker, did I give you the Gladiator popcorn bucket? Rob, is there a Gladiator popcorn bucket?
Not when we saw it. For me, by the way, the reason I got to see it early is because I'm interviewing the two costume designers and the cinematographer, so I had to see it.
Awesome. Let me just see. Mr. Gonzalo 09, I want to see Gladiator 2. Don't care about the plot. I want to see action. Okay. And Tom Jr. Jackson, man, I'm not interested in Gladiator 2. Come on, Tom. You like everything, and you're not interested in Gladiator 2? And Adventure Square, considering the comparison that Rob made, said that's a high bar. Exactly. HV Christodot, Dieter is the only Germanian soldier I need. Nice, thanks. I take that compliment. Blazing Asian, Rob is the James Bond of the movie YouTube space. The man has been everywhere. Victor Fontaine, considering Rob showed last week that he purchased all of the Hills Run Red Blu-rays that were left. All. He purchased almost all, because Victor Fontaine, same, picked up Hills Run Red at the Shocktober sale. Nice. Victor Fontaine, I got that Frighteners 4K limited edition box set from Turbine when it came out in 2022. One of the best sets in my collection. Nice. Considering the movie, Rob, I don't know if you, I know you don't have time editing through Noir. If you have time to at least watch on Max Trap,
no,
have a good time. To have a good time to laugh a little bit. Margot, Trap, don't you mean crap? Yeah, the movie is crap, but hilariously funny, considering what's in it. And Adventure Square says that third act is hilarious. Not only the third act, I think even more than the third act is hilarious when it comes to Trap. We just see there was a little bit more. Blazing Asian, M. Night will win Father of the Year, but won't be winning any directing awards. Adventure Square, I like how M. Night got his daughter's dialogue to say, you have to forgive dads. Great. Tim Hens, we had Aliens, then Predators, then Twisters, but why wasn't the new Gladiator movie titled Gladiators? Instead of this lazy title, it was giving like Gladiator 2. I have no idea, Tim. Ruben Hilbers, just ordered 12 Angry Men on DVD. Should have it on Tuesday. So Ruben, are you the one who keep the pie charts that unbalanced, that the DVD is still at the top? Unbelievable. Edgewood Christodot, considering Rob showed in the news section, there we have it, showed in the news section the movie Tag with Jeremy.
But by the way, I just want to point out on this week's pie chart, look at how up UHD is. Look at how up 4K is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. There were some big titles coming. Oh, Deadpool and Wolverine, Rob, probably.
Right. Yeah.
It's had something to do with it. HV Christodot, considering Rob showed that the Tag movie Jeremy is coming out in 4K, but HV Christodot said, I want that other Tech movie about the Japanese schoolgirls, exactly. And this movie came out here in Germany, but it didn't feature German subtitles, which pissed me off. There's another Japanese movie called Tech. Considering Rob always brings up the super chats, but sometimes they fly a little bit too fast over my head, because Walter White Walker said that, so I'm right next to Rockwell, MD. Rockwell's sister city is Pinneberg, and Rob asked me about it, and Pinneberg is actually not close to where I live. HV Christodot, the Warriors is okay, but it's a lot of running and not that much fighting. Yeah, you're right. And like I said, it's still missing the song Warrior from Thin Lizzy in the soundtrack. That's still missing. Altmetall, I watched that Italian 4K, The Good, the Bad, the Ugly last week. It was the only one without an O-ring. All others with an O-ring. So Rob, perhaps we didn't miss it. Perhaps really The Good, the Bad, the Ugly was one that came.
I thought the first pressing of it came with an O-ring, though.
Yeah, I would so too, but perhaps not, Rob. Perhaps not. Perhaps we are not missing it at all. Then Ponan McFly, my new friend from here on my county, Alex, said, that's why I ordered the UK version instead of the German one, the different steelbook cover, because I forgot something. The last one. I showed the Nightmare on Elm Street box set from Germany, which bumped me a little bit out, that the Steelbook has the same cover artwork, and there was only one thing to do, get the other Steelbook from Italy. So I have the Steelbook now with the original cover artwork. The other one, I gave it to one of my best worker colleagues. So now I have the collector's edition as I wanted, with the different Steelbook in it, Alex. What do you say now? Okay. Mastermind MMA Media. Rob, I think we've answered that question often. Rob, what's your most prized piece of physical media? And Rob, I think it's the Galaxy of Heroes box that you showed.
Yeah. I mean, I love that's the most expensive, but still,
expensive.
It will always be.
You think prized piece that it's more?
Yeah, the one that means the most to me. The most expensive is that Legends of Galactic Heroes set, but it will always be Second Sight's box set of Dawn of the Dead. That's my favorite piece of physical. The two pieces of physical media that I love La La Land Records. La La Land Records box set of the entire soundtrack for the entire original Star Trek series. That box set. And Second Sight's Dawn of the Dead. Those are my two favorite pieces of physical media that I own.
Awesome. From all Star Trek shows, from all
the original music. The original series, that most of that music, there had been releases over the years of some of the music and re-recorded versions, but those are the original master tapes from the original Star Trek series. There's even music they never used that I'd never heard until I got that box set. That box set from La La Land. And they're re-releasing them in various, it's not one box set, but they're re-releasing the seasons individually, so you can get them. But that box set, man, that is the stuff.
Rob, how much was the Galaxy of Heroes?
$800.
Okay. Adventure Square. I was curious about Terrifier 2 when I saw it's 2.5 hours. Now that's terrifying. Actually, considering Terrifier 2, I didn't felt the runtime at all when I watched it. And it's only 138. You can subtract perhaps 5-minute credits, so 133, so 2.5. Not really. But considering slasher, I think it deserves the entry in the Guinness Book World of Records, considering the longest slasher. I don't think there's a slasher out that's longer than 138 minutes. H. Christodot, Terrifier 2 earns its 2.5 hours running time. Tim Hens, I'm with Rob too regarding the Lost Boys. It was okay. I will not stand idly by here listening to the Lost Boys is fine. A movie that's stood the test of time, got a cult following. Yes, it's totally fine if you think Near Dark is the better movie. Near Dark is great too. And I know the Lost Boys is more pop rock and Near Dark more punk rock, okay? But a movie that stood the test of time with his style, with this combination of everything, I will not stand here by and listen to people saying it's just fine, the Lost Boys. No, Lost Boys is great. Adventure Square, both are great, exactly, Near Dark and Lost Boys. I saw the Lost Boys more often, heavy rotation on cable. And Altmetall says the right thing. Lost Boys is kind of an all-around boom. Yes, the vampires, the gang, everything you need.
By the way,
nicely packaged from Joel Schumacher.
I think it's time to point out that Terrifier 3 has grossed $63 million worldwide.
Awesome.
On a $5 million total spend.
Insane. So glad, and I'm still hoping Damien keeps will still be the steward of his franchise and its creation. For 4 and 5.
A $5 million spend.
Yeah, Ben. Yeah.
And it's still playing around the world.
Next to zero marketing, Rob, I have never seen a trailer for the movie in the theater. Never.
No, of course. It's all online. It's truly. I think the Terrifier franchise is truly the example of what crowdfunding and online marketing can be. People are going to study this franchise. I mean, obviously, it delivers the goods too. It gives people gorehounds what they want. But $63 million.
exactly. And it's not over yet, Rob. The movie is still rolling
Oh,
out.
it's still making money. I mean, if that movie hits $100 million on a $5 million spend for the company that acquired it,
insane.
wow.
And wow.
Someone's buying a house.
And Rob, when I remember back watching the first one, I thought, yeah, nice pleasure, but I never thought how successful the figure, the character of Art the Clown and the franchise would become. Never in a million years.
Crazy.
I thought it after seeing the first one. Michel D. Considering Miele showed the picture with his Rocky set, a little bit glue inside.
Yeah.
And Michel D says, it's not glue, it's authentic Rocky sweat that's in those pictures. And Michel D, considering Rob showed the Warriors score that he bought, not everything needs to be a musical. Exactly. And Michel D goes on, Rob just dissed Lost Boys and the Cell. He's off my Christmas card list now. That's what you get, Rob. Okay? Victor Fontaine. Rippy, the zombie kangaroo. Exactly, the zombie kangaroo. And you should think we can have fun with something like that concept. But it was not that funny at all, actually. Another super chat that came in last week. What do you think about, from Craigie Gilgan? What do you think about Alien Romulus being released as a limited edition VHS, and will you try and get a copy? Like we said, considering VHS, no. It's a nice idea, but for me, I have no interest in buying a VHS
Me neither.
copy of that movie. And 101 Johnny, forget not the tips. You don't collect video games, do you? I got my hands on the Metal Gear Solid Volume 1 Masterclass this Friday. Not that big anymore, but I still collect video games. I would love to have a little bit more time, but video games are definitely a time investment if you buy one of the new ones. Mozart's Ghost, that Columbia box is a labor of love that Rob showed. Quality stuff. And considering the movie on the waterfront, he says there are 3 cuts of On the Waterfront in that box set.
Wow.
Michel D asked us, what is wrong with the original Bastards transfer? From my recollection, Michel, I think it was just a 2K master that I use, an old digital 2K master for the first 4K. And we have confirmation the Arrow one will be a completely new 4K transfer. But I could be wrong, but I think it was just an upscale.
Yeah.
The first 4K version for Inglourious Bastards. Miele! So is Joker 2 a misunderstood masterpiece yet? Not yet, but we're getting there, Miele. We're getting there. Slowly, but surely. Major Chai, considering Rob showed in the news section last week the Disney Steelbooks that came out for the Disney Plus series. The artwork is nice. Should have put the same effort into the series. You're right on that front. Signal Strength 5. Rob and Dieter should have a show dedicated to music releases. And that brings me a little bit to the observation that Rob did, considering music hasn't the value anymore. And I totally agree. Back in the day, when I drove to work, I always listened to new albums. But now I drive to work and listen to perhaps observation or a movie review on YouTube. Seldomly I listen to music on.
I mean, we do show when we get premium music stuff like this, the Warriors CD.
Also, something special like this, Rob.
Yeah.
For me.
Yeah.
But it's old, Rob. It's not a new record, No. So it hasn't the same value anymore. And especially considering all the new album is out, it's on your streaming platform immediately, But back in the day, you went to the store, what's new, You didn't know what was coming out. And then you saw the record, wait, a new album from that group or that group is out. Awesome. Miele. Oh, wow, I didn't see the city skyline on that steelbook. I stand corrected. And the man says, looked like lazy art. Yeah, at first, but if you look correctly, you can see the Statue of Liberty here. So it's a little bit New York skyline. You get some helicopters.
It's still
here.
lazy. It's cool, but it's lazy.
but better on the second viewing. And Miele says, considering Terrifier, the CEO of Cineverse, who distributed the movie, is an ex-Disney Universal executive. He is kicking ass right now. And Cineverse has no office space at all. All Zoom meetings. Altmetall, considering the versions of the good, the bad, and the ugly, the Italian one, no 4K of the good, the bad, and the ugly has HDR, neither the Kino Lorber nor the Italian. Kino Lorber is only the theatrical cut version. The Italian has the original long Italian cut, which not exactly is an extended cut because for them it was the theatrical version back then. Demens, last one, Rob. Jennifer Lawrence is with child again, master neue deeds. Only that my babe is probably done with acting. Who will know when she pops up again in another movie? Perhaps not that soon. And that, for me, is a bummer.
She'll come back. She'll come back.
I hope so. But this was the live chat, Rob, from last week.
All right. Well, there we go. I think we're good.
And we have some super chats.
We have a few super chats left, and let's get to those. One is, of course, from Thomas Logan. First of all, we've got, you know what? I forgot to click on. You know what I just realized?
Okay.
I forgot to click on this. Looking for Mr. Goodbar is coming out from Vinegar Syndrome, and that goes into Adventure Square says Vinegar Syndrome is also releasing the long-lost Looking for Mr. Goodbar, great Richard Brooks disturbing flick from the dark 70s. Thoughts? Oh, this was the thing I was even most excited about. I can't believe I missed it. But yes, Looking for Mr. Goodbar is a great film, and this is the thing, again, from Paramount, and I'm going to definitely get this for sure. I don't know why I skipped over that part. You know why? Because we started talking about Congo, and I skipped over it. You started me talking about Congo, but yes,
Congo,
this is coming from, of all the new stuff that they're putting out, I want Looking for Mr. Goodbar. It's a great movie if you haven't seen it. A little disturbing, too. Thomas Logan says, call George Feltenstein, ask him about The Hitcher. Well, here's why. First of all, it was George Feltenstein who found the negative to give to Second Sight. We had a conversation. George had asked me about Second Sight. He didn't know much about Second Sight, and I said they're like one of my favorite boutique labels, if not my favorite boutique label, because of Dawn of the Dead. So George arranged for The Hitcher to be released, and the deal was that Warner Brothers got the master to put out domestically.
Rob, did he actually tell you where he find it, where he found it, or?
Well, no, he had to look, but it was he knew where to look. Like George knows where everything is. He knows where all the negatives are, and I told you they should just make George Feltenstein the film czar for the United States, and he could oversee all the libraries for all the studios. I mean, he should be running Warner Brothers. If he did, we'd have Excalibur, we'd have so many other things. I mean, I'm sure we're going to get all that stuff eventually, but he would have made sure we got all this cool shit for the 100th anniversary of Warner Brothers.
Could have been that the negative would have been lost,
Yeah, unless he found it, but he did. Dragon Warrior says, "What can we expect from the Lego Universal deal?" I don't know. They're going to make more. They're going to make a bunch of Lego movies.
Yeah.
I don't know. Are we going to get? I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know much about what we're going to get and how that's going to work. I mean, I don't know if we're going to get more like Lego Batman stuff because that's Warner Brothers. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. You know what I want them to do? Lego Jaws.
Okay.
I want Lego Jaws, and you work the entire history of Universal in there, because you could add Earthquake, you could add the airport movies, and so Lego Jaws is really about these guys that have to go. Here's my plot for Lego Jaws that I'm making up right now on the spot. Okay. If I could make Lego Jaws, if Universal could do Lego Jaws, you delve into the Universal, all the Universal, be like a Ready Player One scenario where these guys have to go out and save Amity from Jaws, from Bruce the shark. But all this other stuff happens instead. Like Earthquake happens, Airport happens, Back to the Future happens.
So a nice potpourri, universal potpourri.
Yeah, it's a universal potpourri, but it's universal Jaws. That's Lego Jaws, whatever. But the guys who have to do that can't get out. The shark is still out there because all this other shit keeps happening, and they keep getting involved in all the other. That's my on the spot. There you go. There's my on the spot creation. Lego Jaws, and that's the funny thing is they can never quite get to the orca.
Executive says, thank you, Rob.
I just want to see a Lego Concorde crash in the mountains. 5.Toast says, I'm consistently amazed at how much I brought into Damien Leone's non-slasher dramatic interludes with the family in Terrifier 2 and 3. I would be very curious to see how he would direct a non-horror So you bought into the family stuff, which is good. I think that's a good thing.
Totally.
Video Hunter D says, are you fans of Silent Hill? The Silent Hill 2 remake is out. I am fans of. I played the first Silent Hill. I've heard that remake is out. I like Silent Hill a great deal. What's not to love?
And I thought, Rob, that the first movie was one of the better video adaptations, considering movies. The first Silent Hill movie.
Oh yeah, I did too. I really liked it. I thought it was quite good. Yes, no,
good.
The Silent Hill franchise, the second Silent Hill movie, I remember not liking.
Yeah.
Was there a second Silent Hill movie? Maybe that's what
there was one.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Stub McShave says, concerning our value of media, I'd bet Rob can name the first record he bought, but I'm pretty sure no one knows which songs or movies they downloaded first. Yes, that's very, very true. Although the first record I bought was not exciting, it was actually a Peter and the Wolf record.
Oh,
it was a Peter and the Wolf storybook record. But yeah, I could tell you a lot of the albums I bought when I was a kid because I didn't buy that many of them. But yeah, they downloading things. It's true. All content, movies have been devalued. All movies have been reduced to the same size thumbnail, which I hate. They're all the same, which it shouldn't be that way, but whatever.
Yeah.
So there you go.
So are we caught up, Rob?
Everything's caught up. We're all caught up.
Okay. Since I have early shift tomorrow, Rob, I spare you the Star Trek trivia. And I think we come to an end.
Yeah.
I say, I'm signing off from Saarbrücken with, jede Person, die du triffst, hat eine Geschichte zu erzählen, die du noch zu hören hast. Alles, was du tun musst, ist zuhören.
Every person you meet has a story to tell that you have yet to hear, and all you have to do is listen. And I want to thank everybody for generously supporting this channel via Super Chats and tips. I want to thank Tom Jr. Jackson and everyone else who moderates. I don't know if Lord Toth is here. I don't know if anyone else is here, but thank you for being great moderators and friends and all of that. And thank everybody out there for supporting physical media. And the Robservations 1000th episode is going to be happening this week sometime. Maybe I did episode 97. I got to do 98 and 99. I'll do this week.
Didn't you want to cooperate it with the membership a little bit?
Maybe. I don't know how I'm going to do that. I haven't quite figured that out yet. But the 1000th episode, if you want to be on the 1000th episode, just write me an email at rmburnett, RMBURNETT 1701 at gmail.com and put Robservations 1000 in the heading and tell me what you want to talk about. And I'm going to try and schedule a bunch of people. And
the most important thing, Rob, Saturday, Arcane, second season starts.
Oh.
November 9th, some Saturday, second season.
Well, there you go.
For Arcane.
That's exciting.
You're looking for. Yeah.
All right, everyone. And we come to the end at last.
We come to the end. Yeah.
Thanks for being here.
See you next week.